just rolled out the red carpet for Coco Gauff in a way that has the haters absolutely seething. We're talking about a full-scale air show welcome, the kind of reception usually reserved for heads of state and royalty. While her critics were busy typing angry comments about how she's overrated, the entire city of Rome was literally putting on a sky performance in her honor. The jealousy is palpable. Here's what I need to know. When was the last time your city threw an air show for you? Coco Gauff just arrived in Rome for a tennis event, and the welcome she received has absolutely broken the brains of everyone who's been trying to convince the world she doesn't deserve the attention she gets. We're not talking about a nice hotel room or some flowers in her suite. We're talking about an actual air show, planes in the sky, coordinated aerial performance. The kind of spectacle that makes you stop whatever you're doing and look up. And it was all for Coco. Let that sink in for a moment while the haters figure out how to spin this into something negative. The video of this welcome is absolutely insane. You've got planes doing formations in the sky, and there's Coco, watching this entire production that's happening because she showed up in the city. Not because she demanded it. Not because her team made special requests, but because Rome, the city with thousands of years of history and culture, decided that Coco Gauff's presence warranted a full aerial display. That's the level we're talking about here. That's the kind of respect and recognition she's receiving from one of the most prestigious cities in the world. Now, let's address the obvious question. Why would Rome go this hard for a 21-year-old tennis player? Because Coco Gauff isn't just any tennis player. She's a global superstar who brings attention, prestige, and crowds wherever she goes. When Coco plays in your city, your tournament gets headlines, your event gets viewers, your sponsors get exposure. That's valuable. That's worth celebrating. Rome understands this. The Italian Tennis Federation understands this. The only people who don't seem to understand this are the haters who've been insisting for years that Coco is somehow overrated, despite all evidence to the contrary.
She's actually, Andy Roddick, the youngest player in the top 160, so she's doing pretty good. What makes her such a threat on this surface, the red clay?
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out, Steve, because I think we take her for granted a little bit just because we've gotten to know her for a minute now, right? She's been around. It's got to be, what, 3-4 years since that Wimbledon run. But I like her forehand a little bit better on the slower surfaces when she has time to actually create her natural trajectory, which is a little bit more of a loop. I think her serving out a tough one today was good for her. I think on the heels of last week in Madrid, where frankly, there's no other way to say it. And I love Coco, but her serve completely fell apart at the end of the match against Halep last week. So for her to kind of take that lump, it wasn't pretty. It had to be some stressful conversations afterwards, and to come back and kind of re-gauge everything and come out and play a really strong match against always tough out against Angie Kerber. I thought it was a great performance for Coco, especially there had to be a little bit of lingering scar tissue after last week's loss and the way it happened.
Let's talk about the Rome tournament specifically, because there's history here that makes this welcome even more significant. Coco made the final at the Italian Open last year. She lost to Jasmine Paolini in front of a hostile home crowd that was absolutely brutal to her. The Italian fans were understandably supporting their player, but the atmosphere was intense. Coco handled it with grace and professionalism, but it was clear she was dealing with a lot of pressure and negativity. Fast forward to this year, and Rome is literally putting on an air show for her arrival. That's character development. That's respect earned through performance and professionalism. The contrast between how she was received as an opponent, facing a home favorite, versus how she's being received now as a returning star, tells you everything about how Coco carries herself. She didn't badmouth the Italian crowd after that loss. She didn't complain about the atmosphere or make excuses. She took the loss, acknowledged Paolini played great, and moved on with class. And apparently, Rome noticed. They notice that she's not just a talented player, but someone who represents the sport well. Someone worth celebrating. Someone worth putting on a literal airshow for. Here's where the sarcasm needs to be dialed up to maximum. The people who've spent years insisting Coco gets too much attention are now watching a city throw an airshow for her and trying to figure out how to spin this as a negative. Well, it's just marketing. Yeah, no kidding. Everything is marketing. The question is why Rome chose to market their event with Coco specifically. Could it be because she's actually as big of a deal as everyone except the haters has been saying? Could it be that her global appeal and star power justify this kind of reception? No, couldn't be. Must be some conspiracy. The video itself is worth breaking down because it's not just planes flying around randomly. This was a coordinated display. Someone planned this. Someone organized it. Someone got permissions and clearances and put together a whole production. That doesn't happen for just anyone. That level of effort signals that whoever organized this event understands that Coco Gauff's presence is worth investing in. They're not doing air shows for every player who shows up. They're doing it for the players who move the needle, and Coco moves the needle. Now let's talk about what this welcome represents in the broader context of Coco's career trajectory. She's only been a professional for a few years, but she's already reached a level where major cities are celebrating her arrival with elaborate displays. That's typically something that happens to legends at the end of their careers, not to players still in their early 20s. Roger Federer got these kinds of welcomes after winning 20 Grand Slams over 2 decades. Serena Williams got this treatment after dominating the sport for years. Coco is getting it now, before she's even hit her prime. That's how impactful she's already been. The haters will say this is premature. They'll say she hasn't earned this level of recognition yet. But here's the thing. Rome disagrees. The Italian Tennis Federation disagrees. The sponsors who fund these events disagree. The fans who buy tickets to watch her play disagree. The only people who think Coco doesn't deserve this level of recognition are the people who've been wrong about her from the beginning. The same people who said she'd never win a Grand Slam. The same people who said she was just hype. The same people who've been proven wrong at every stage of her career. Let's also acknowledge the practical business reality here. Tennis tournaments compete for the biggest stars. They want the players who bring attention and crowds. When you can get someone like Coco Gauff to commit to your event, you do what it takes to make her feel valued and appreciated. An airshow welcome is not just about honoring Coco personally. It's about signaling to other top players that this tournament takes care of its stars. It's about creating content that goes viral and promotes the event globally. It's smart business dressed up as a celebration, and there's nothing wrong with that. The timing of this welcome is also significant. This is happening after Coco won her 2nd Grand Slam at the French Open earlier in the year. She's coming to Rome as a reigning major champion, not as an up-and-comer hoping to prove herself. The city is acknowledging her status as one of the elite players in the sport. They're treating her like the champion she is. And that distinction matters because it shows this isn't just about potential anymore. This is about actual accomplishment. Coco has delivered on the promise, and Rome is recognizing that. Compare this reception to how other young stars are treated when they show up to tournaments. Most players get a nice greeting, maybe some photos, standard hospitality. Very few get air shows. Very few get this level of production value in their welcome. The fact that Coco is receiving this treatment puts her in a different category. It puts her in the conversation with the absolute biggest names in tennis, regardless of age or career longevity. That's earned through performance, marketability, and global appeal. Now, let's address what the haters are saying about this because their reactions have been predictably bitter. It's only because she's American. Okay, but how many American tennis players are getting air show welcomes in European cities? It's only because of her endorsement deals. So she's valuable to the sport commercially, which is exactly why tournaments would celebrate her. She hasn't won enough to deserve this. She's won 2 Grand Slams and multiple WTA titles before turning 22. But sure, not enough. The goalposts keep moving because admitting they were wrong about her isn't an option for these people. The Italian crowd's evolution in how they treat Coco is actually fascinating. Last year, when she faced Paolini in the final, the atmosphere was hostile. Not because Coco did anything wrong, but because sports fans support their home players. That's natural. That's expected. But the way Coco handled that pressure, the way she conducted herself despite losing in a difficult environment, clearly made an impression. Because now, Rome isn't just tolerating her presence. They're celebrating it with literal aerial performances. That's a complete reversal that speaks to the respect she's earned. This welcome also sends a message to other players about Rome's priorities. They're not just running a tennis tournament. They're creating experiences. They're building relationships with the sport's biggest stars. They're thinking long-term about how to position their event as one of the premier stops on the tour, getting Coco Gauff, giving her an unforgettable welcome, and generating global content from that welcome. That's strategic thinking that benefits everyone involved. The tournament gets publicity, Coco gets honored, fans get entertained. It's a win across the board. The production value of this air show also matters. This wasn't some half-effort flyover. This was a coordinated aerial display with multiple aircraft performing maneuvers. That costs money. That requires planning and permissions. That takes effort from multiple organizations working together. The fact that all of that effort went into welcoming one tennis player tells you exactly how valuable that player is considered to be. Rome wouldn't invest these resources if they didn't believe Coco's presence would generate returns through attention, ticket sales, and media coverage. Let's talk about the social media impact of this moment, because that's where the real value becomes obvious. The video of this air show welcome has been viewed millions of times across platforms. Every tennis publication has covered it. Sports media outlets beyond just tennis have picked up the story. That's free global publicity for the Rome tournament. That's reach that advertising budgets can't buy. And it all stems from making one player feel special in a memorable way. That's brilliant marketing disguised as hospitality. The contrast between Coco's treatment and how some other top players are received is also worth noting. Not every tournament goes this hard for their stars. Most provide excellent hospitality, sure, but air shows? That's next level. That's making a statement. Rome is essentially declaring that Coco Gauff is in the absolute top tier of tennis stars worthy of extraordinary treatment. And they're not wrong. Her combination of on-court success, youth, marketability, and global appeal makes her one of the most valuable players in tennis right now. Rome recognizes that. The haters don't, but their opinions stopped mattering years ago. This moment also highlights how Coco's brand has grown beyond just tennis. She's not just recognized by tennis fans, she's recognized globally. She has crossover appeal that extends into fashion, culture, and social issues. When Rome throws an air show for her, they're not just welcoming a tennis player. They're welcoming a global celebrity who happens to play tennis. That distinction is important because it explains why the treatment is different. Coco exists in that rare space where she's both an elite athlete and a cultural figure. Very few players ever reach that level. The Italian Tennis Federation clearly understands what Coco brings to their event. She brings viewers who might not otherwise watch. She brings international attention. She brings legitimacy and prestige. Having Coco Gauff competing in your tournament elevates the entire event's profile. That's why they're rolling out air shows instead of just standard welcomes. They're competing with every other tournament on the calendar for the attention and commitment of top players. Making Coco feel valued and appreciated increases the chances she'll continue prioritizing their event in future years. Rome just threw an air show for Coco Gauff, while her haters sat at home typing angry comments about how she doesn't deserve recognition. The entire city disagrees with them, and so does everyone with functioning eyes and basic comprehension of what star power looks like. If you're tired of the baseless hate and want more reality checks for critics, hit that like button and subscribe for more truth.